Our next speaker now is David Moynes. Where are you, David? From Velocity. He is an experienced director. He's got a demonstrated history working particularly in the chemicals field in the industry. His skills are specifically in sales and marketing management, which is what he's going to be talking about today. He's going to demonstrate to you strategies for boosting your car wash revenue and profit. We all want to hear about that. And he has helping him Chelsea Beyer from America. So welcome, David.
Hello, thank you for the introduction there, Diane. So at Velocity Vehicle Care, we asked ourselves, our question is, what makes a happy car wash operator? And overwhelmingly, the answer was a car wash operator that makes money. So with that in mind, I'm going to introduce Chelsea Beyer, who's going to talk to you today about how to boost your revenue and profit. So Chelsea has been a Senior Vice President with Zep Vehicle Care in the United States. She was responsible for over 400 sales and service representatives across the United States. And previous to that, Chelsea worked with ConocoPhillips and managed over 500 car washes across North America. Chelsea has a Master of Business Administration and currently lives in St. Paul in Minnesota. So Chelsea, I'll hand it over to you. Thank you.
Good morning. They lied. There's 3 Americans back to back here. In my defense, David promised that it would be 25 all week. That has not worked out, so I'm happy to talk with all of you today. My real passion in this industry, I've done operations, I've been on the chemical side, supplier side of the business, but what my real passion is around the industry is growing revenue. And a lot of what Eric talked about in terms of the change in marketing and the way that we talk to our customers is really a lot of what I've studied in my career. So that's what I'd like to talk a little bit about today. And again, I have 20 minutes, so we'll go through it fast, but I'm happy to talk to anybody at the booth as well. And always enjoy, one of the great passions that I have is getting around to talking a number of these different things and listen to people about how you're building your business. So the compilation of the stuff that I'll talk about today is surely what I've seen happen and work and predict to go in other markets, and so I'm happy to share that with you. How do we advance these? Okay, so when you think about increasing revenue, there's really only 3 ways to do it, right? This is very basic, but it helps you really compartmentalize how you spend your money in terms of marketing dollars and what you're trying to do in order to increase your revenue. So you have a customer that comes to your wash, you can get them to spend more money, right? That's a way to increase your revenue. You have a customer that comes to your wash, but maybe doesn't wash with you all the time, or washes at home some of the time, or doesn't know how to wash, or doesn't know a good frequency of washing their car. They may only wash once a year. So by educating your customer and increasing their frequency or their loyalty to you, you can increase your revenue. The third way that many people are very familiar with, and we spend a lot of time and effort thinking about, is how to draw all new customers or to take business from competitors. And while that is a very real thing, I would argue that the first 2 pieces are things that are much more impactable. Those are customers that already come to your site, already believe in your business. And by making some very simple adjustments to what you're doing at the site, you can really impact how your revenue affects. So when you think about increasing your average spend per wash, that's basically your average ticket. This is something that I think most people have been conditioned to think about. What percentage of your customers and what take rates they have at what kind of washes. This is the easiest to impact because it's very surely looking at the customers that you have and saying, am I getting all the dollars that that customer is willing to spend with me in that transaction? So we'll talk about how to know that. When we talk about increasing visits, you want to reward your loyal customers, right? You want to increase the number of visits that your customer has. So Eric alluded to monthly unlimited passes. I would say that loyalty programs are a very significant and growing part of the population. And I think you guys know this just in your day-to-day life, right? How many of you now have little keychain barcodes that you get from the grocery store or from different frequencies that you're going to various places to earn rewards? They understand how you're purchasing. It's definitely something that is emerging strongly, and in the US has made probably the most significant impact to the industry over the last 2 years. So as opposed to being conditioned to thinking about how much is the customer spending on one visit, which would be your average ticket, What we do when we talk about customers from a loyal perspective is what's the annual or monthly value of that customer. So a customer can come and spend $20 with you one time, but would you rather have them come 5 times and spend $5? So we'll talk a little bit about that as well, but mostly today I'm going to focus on increasing the average spend per wash. The bottom one, increasing number of customers, again, I think a lot of people think a lot about this, but to increase the number of customers, you have to reach out into the community. You have to draw people into your location and make them aware that your facility exists and what you offer. And while that is an excellent thing and is particularly important if you're building a new site, the fact is that this is by far and away the most expensive way to spend your marketing dollars. In the U.S., a typical, if you were to drop ship advertising, little coupon mailers or in the local newspapers or those types of things, average redemption rate is less than 3%. So when you think about the money that you spend and what your return is, I would encourage you very strongly to first look at your average ticket and are you maximizing the dollars that you're getting from each customer. Then look at the loyalty and the frequency of your customers and what that lifetime value of the customer is to you. And once you have maximized those, number one, you'll have very loyal, very high-paying customers, and those are typically people that are going to talk to their relatives and they're very satisfied with your service. So they're your best word of mouth and cheapest customer in terms of being able to increase your customer base. But also then that's when you can turn your money towards spending towards getting all new customers. The easier way to do it is to look at your existing customer base, and I'll talk a little bit about that. So one thing to be cognizant of, I'm a big marketer. We're going to talk a lot about signage and how to attract customers to your top packages. One thing to be very cognizant of is the clutter factor. So as we all know, you see, well, the average person sees 5,000 advertising messages a day. And there's 2 things to understand about that. One is they see 5,000 advertising messages per day, so that means that we're kind of conditioned to block those out. So you need to make sure that your message is very clear, concise, and tells the customer what you want them to know, because they've got 5,000 other things to go see. The other thing is that if your customer sees the same thing at your location every time they come, they stop seeing it altogether. So the importance of cycling your marketing and making new and exciting things for your customers to see will impact your ability to sell more washes and higher dollar washes. So this is also from a little bit of what Eric talked about. This is from the ICA consumer study, and again, a lot of this is US based. I will tell you the first bullet point is actually from my collection of knowledge of conveyor customers in the US that do track license plates. There are a number of them. So if you ask an individual, they'll say they wash their car about once a month. If you track their license plate, and they say they always wash it this wash, I always wash it this wash. If you track their license plate, the reality is they wash more like 4 times per year. So if you have a customer that washes 4 times per year, and half the time they're going to wash at home, let's hope that's not the case, right? We want to turn into more professional car washing. Your impact points can be very limited with a customer. So again, you want to really make sure if it's a spot buyer that you're getting the absolute top dollar that you can from those 2 or 3 transactions a year that you'll have with that customer. The great news is that the trend is moving very strongly towards professional car washing. And I think we see that in that all of the locations that you see, many people are focused on upgrading their image. I think that consumers think far better of car washing today, right? No more filament, weed whipper type of washes, a lot more professional style, a lot better looking marketing, lighting, that kind of thing. So we continue to fight that battle, getting people off of the parking lot or the driveway washing and getting them into the professional wash and understanding that that's a good thing for them to be. In the US, again, frequent wash members almost doubled. So in 2 years, the average American that will tell you that they have a loyalty program of some sort with specifically a car wash hit 25%. That just blows my mind. I mean, when I started in this industry, I would never have thought that. In fact, when the statistic came out, I thought that that was really astounding. There's a lot of great reasons to want to understand that, and I know it's something that's kind of emerging here a little bit more, the affiliation with the loyalty programs and unlimited wash programs. Again, going back to how do you increase your average ticket, loyal customers spend the most, loyal customers wash the most. And then only 11% would say that they had an offer from a car wash in a previous year. So what does that tell you? Does that mean that everybody in the car wash industry stopped spending money on marketing? No, that's that outbound communication. People don't see it, right? So all that money that's being spent, only 11 people in a year, or 11% of people in a year would say that they got any offer, any coupon, any offer, anything from a car wash in the last year. So until that becomes more impactful, hit on the ones that are already coming to your location. Okay, this is one I really find this fascinating, and I think it's something to really think about, especially as we talk about menus and marketing. The reason that people wash their car, yes, it's functional, but it is by far and away, more than anything, emotional, right? It's sort of like a restaurant. You go to a restaurant because you need to eat, yes, but the type of restaurant that you're choosing is an experience. And you have an emotional reaction, right? That's why special dinner nights. Or if you're in a hurry, you just think about going through like fast food, but your thoughts about that experience are completely different than the night that you're gonna go have something special, right? So I would argue that the way that you put your marketing up in the site and the communication that you have to your consumer, you need to focus on the emotional reward of that. And for most people, it makes me feel good. It's a good reflection on me. It's a treat. I don't enjoy doing it myself. And a lot of people, the family thing, great advertising opportunity if you can to integrate, everybody knows the kids with the triple colors, right? That's great. But think forward more on that. There's a lot of locations now that are doing cool things like as you exit the wash, it takes a picture and it posts to a social media site. And now you can go in and tag yourself and tag your kids, right? Makes it much more of an experience and a family-friendly type of an environment. So I'm going to just talk real briefly about some basics of the menu. Your menu is the number one way that you can impact your average ticket. So how many of you have done a new menu in the last year? Yeah, maybe 10%. Would you argue that the industry has changed pretty strongly in the last year? Do you think that average tickets or the ability to price higher is going up? I would suggest that the opportunity is there. There's a lot of new industry innovation out there that allows you to take a higher price. But more importantly, going back to the idea that if your customer sees the same thing every time they come to your wash, they're not making any different decision. So if your marketing isn't fresh, isn't powerful, isn't telling the customer what you want them to know, then you're not driving the behavior of the customer. Then they're just picking a number, or worse, picking a price point, right? So you want to make sure it's appealing, colorful, relevant, visible from a distance, because if you're pulling up to that auto teller and there's 3 cars in the queue behind you, and you have to make a decision in 10 seconds, you're, again, making a decision, I'm going to buy the bottom or I'm going to buy the top, right? If they see it from a distance, then they're making a more educated decision. Also, you want to make sure, just very basically, you want your best package to be the one to stand out, right? Because that's what we want people to buy, is the best package. So it should be in your number one position. That means whether if you're top to bottom or left to right, you want your best package to be in the number one position. If you are selling it based off of a number, so off of a gas pump, what number are you selecting? It needs to be your number one. I would say that if you want your top package percentage to be above 50%, your top package needs to take up that amount of space on your menu. So if you want 80% top package, you should have 80% of your menu space be taken up by your top package, right? Most visible, takes up the most space, and communicates that this is the wash that we want you to take. Same thing on the bottom. I see a lot of descriptors about what a car wash is. So, and by the way, all these are just some various ones, and I don't necessarily agree with every menu or every thought process, but what are they coming to your car wash to get? Probably a car wash. So, in the basic wash, I'm not sure how much we need to explain there, right? What you're trying to do is say, okay, here's a car wash, basic. And by the way, I get very concerned about using the word express on the bottom, because is express a benefit? For some people it is. If you're in a hurry, is express a benefit? Now, I can wash your car in 30 seconds longer at the top package than the basic package. So just be careful that what you're selling and what your package names are clearly tell the customer what the point of differentiation is, especially in the middle. What's the difference between deluxe and premium? Depends on what your thought is of it, right? So make sure that you've got a very basic bottom wash. It's a car wash. They came here to buy a car wash, so you can tell them it's a car wash. But your other packages are meant to build to your customers, appeal to the emotional side, and tell them what the benefits are of additional builds into the purchase. So I'm going to run through just a really basic car wash menu. These price points are generally US based, by the way, so I understand that these don't, and by the way, they're also incredibly different in any country, no matter where you go. But I'm just going to give you an example. This is a basic car wash menu. It's not terrible. It's not bad. But there are already, just some of the things that we talked about, very glaring challenges here, right? So our top wash is on the bottom. All the wash packages are the same size. Really, the only thing that you see here is the price point. So now we're just buying a price point. Excuse me, would you like to pay $11 or $7 for your car wash today? That's not the emotional decision that I'm trying to present to somebody. But let's just pretend that these are average take rates here, 33, 20, 26, 21. Generally speaking, not unusual for a 4-package, very little differentiation system. We apply some basic things, and one thing that people always ask me is how many wash packages should I have? So I'm just going to run through this with you and just see what you think. When you have 4 wash packages, or 4 of anything, this is a basic marketing premise. It's called the power of 3. A lot of interior decorators in here? No? They tell you, for example, on your side table at home or on your mantle to group things in 3s. The reason is that it's pleasing to the eye, right? So when you have 4, what do you think of in terms of a shape when I say 4? Square, right? And what's the definition of a square? Equal sides, right? So if I give you 4, what does that imply? Equal. Everything's the same. So when you ask people to choose a number, 1, 2, 3, or 4, generally speaking, it actually breaks out to about 25% each, right? When you ask people to choose 1, 2, and 3, there's emotion that starts coming in when you start saying 1, 2, and 3, right? Don't we give medals? Yeah, gold, silver, bronze, right? First, second, third place are commonly the people, or commonly the places that are talked about, right? So now you start assigning a value to which one is most important. Better yet is that you start stacking them to show which one is more important. And then you emphasize which one is most important. So when we talk about talking to a consumer about what's important to them and what you want them to buy and what that emotional piece is, you can see how the way that you lay out your packages is incredibly important to driving the decision. You want to put one out there that this is the package, this is going to give you all those great feelings about your car being clean and proud, and it's a treat because you got one, right? So if you're presenting your wash that way, statistically, you will significantly increase your top package take rate. Even equally presented, there's a great time to do 4 packages, and we'll talk about that. But if you just had a standard 4-package system, and you went from 4 to 3 packages, you're typically going to increase your revenue by 5%. The mentality is you have 2 middles in a 1 through 4 system, right? So if I'm a middle package buyer, which one am I going to get? Well, it's kind of like the 2 or the 3, and now all I know is price points, so I'm going to buy the cheaper of the middle, right? But you also have 2 tops, because that top half of the menu is all good, right? So again, if I've got 2 top packages, well, I'll take the cheaper of the 2, but I'm still buying a top package, right? It's still better. It's on the top half. I'm still buying a top package. So mentally, people, generally speaking, think about buying top, middle, or bottom. You're not going to change a bottom package customer. You're not. And if you do, then you're giving them way too much value that you're stepping them out of their comfort zone. Top package customers generally are always top package customers, unless, again, you are pushing them out of their zone by overpricing or not showing the value of your wash. Those middle customers are the ones that we can influence. Middle customers can be pushed up, and middle customers can be pushed down. Because a middle customer fundamentally doesn't know what they're buying. They don't want bad, they don't want good. They want something in between. Unless you can tell them why buying up is great, or you incentivize them by cheapening your bottom wash so much that why would I buy the middle? So in a general speaking, so here, just looking at this, I'll go one more forward here. Just to retake that exact same menu that we just did, alter the price points, move to a 3-package system, and adding some color and some movement here. This, on average, on this sort of a layout, will increase your average ticket by $1.28 a car. So we were previously at $8.54, I think it was, 2, and $1.28 a car. So 10,000 cars, pretty reasonable. $12,800 to the bottom line, and all you've done is reprint your menu. And I assure you, this works. We do this all the time with customers. This absolutely works. So then, what about 4 packages, right? When's the right time to do 4 packages? Or many of you might be saying, oh, I can't take a price increase, right? My customers will freak out. I hear that customers will freak out if I take price increase all the time. By the way, anybody had a price increase from a supplier? Because my experience is suppliers don't freak out so much about taking price increases. Okay, I'm going to tell you, your customers are not going to freak out about you making a price change. But in the event that they do, here's a really easy way to do it. Add a new top package. This is the time I'm going to tell you that adding a 4th package is a good thing. Because if I add a 4th package, and it looks like this, then I've got the exact same thing, right? Your customers that are freaking out, they still have the exact same layout. It's still the same wash. You just added a new top package. And there are so many ways today, so many innovations in the industry, so many different things that you can do in the industry that justify adding a new top package and getting a premium price point, and you can leave your menu exactly the same. And if you're really afraid of doing that, just run it as a special. Just run it as a manager special or a special for the month. I promise you, your customers will take it in a bigger rate than you think possible, particularly if you market it to them emotionally and as the choice that you want them to take. So going back real fast on price points, just some simple psychology around price points. Generally speaking, you want to stay with even numbers. People don't generally like odd numbers for pricing. Also, $9, $14, and $19, they're the exact same thing as $10, $15, and $20. If I'm giving you $19, I've just given you $20. If I'm giving you $14, I've just given you $15. If I've given you $9, I'm giving you $10. That's the way that people think, right? So 10, 15, and 20 are also really key price points because $16, I've now given you sort of $20 too. Right now I'm over 15. $11, it's no longer 10. You're pushing more like 15. So you want to make sure that if you're going to price over a 10 or 15 or 20, do it significantly enough that you're getting the value out of it, because that $1 is the same as 2 or 3. Also, oddly, don't price at the $13 price points. I know it's, everybody, no, they're not really thinking like, no, they really do think like that. $13 price point is avoided. And the price of your program, I would encourage you to think about what you want your customers to know emotionally about your car wash when you think about how to price your car wash. So when I talk about that, I say, what's your value prop for your car wash? And I would ask you that, and if you come by, I'll ask you the same thing. What I'll say is, tell me the value prop of your car wash without using the word quality. Why? Anybody out there was just about to jump up and say, not quality. That's the value of my car wash. Everybody says that, right? It doesn't mean anything. To talk to a customer and say, well, you're going to get a quality car wash here, don't they assume that they should get a quality car wash? So think about what your value prop is to your customers and price along that same line. There's great businesses like Walmart that are on the low end of the price point, and there are great businesses that are on the high end of the price point. What's your message to your customer? What's that emotional tie? And that will help you with where you want to be priced in your marketplace. And just remember, again, you can always price promote down. So let's say I tell you, go for the $20 price point, right? Go for it. Great. A lot of times when we introduce big breaking price points like that in a marketplace, what we do is we run a promotion with it, right? So maybe it's a bounce back. So buy one for $20, buy another one, buy one at the same time for $10, right? Now we're essentially back to 15, and you have to redeem the second one within 30 days. Building loyalty, creating a ease into that price point, and offering the customer something cool that hits the emotional, like I got a great deal. So you can always promote your price up, but you cannot just go and take another price increase. If you're at 68% top wash and you go, gosh, yeah, I got a great opportunity here to take an increase in price, and you go up $1, and you end up at 67% next week, you're going to go, well, geez, I guess I could have taken more, right? So think hard about pushing your price points. And you can always promote down, you can always come down. I've rarely see it happen because most people are pretty happy. Okay, so again, just adding that top price point, if it was at $15, these simple changes that we've made have gone from $8.56 to $10.24, average per car, $1.68. Again, these are very reasonable price points, easy to implement changes. I would say that this would be conservative about what you can do if you haven't pushed any pricing in recent years and you haven't maybe redone your marketing. $168 a car is very easily doable. And again, limited cost to implement here. You're talking about a little bit of a marketing change, maybe some implementation of different chemistries or signage, but limited costs and really helps maximize your revenue per customer. Smart menu management, more revenue. That's what I got.
Thank you, Chelsea. I think the point that getting from that is we've got to keep our prices going up. They can't just stay still, but do it with some smart marketing, which makes the customers actually enjoy the process.